Welcome back to BL session, and today we have our guest speaker, Zay Ya Min Yin. And today he's going to talk about his book that he's going to launch in 2021 and later this year. And we're excited to have him today. And Zay is currently an honors junior studying information technology and management at State University of New York at Buffalo. And he's also the president of UB Management Information Systems Association for 2 terms from 2020 to 2022. So Zaya, will you be able to share a little bit about the book that you're writing right now, which I believe is called Codes and Kingdoms?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, I really appreciate it. So I just want to talk a little bit about my book first. So Codes and Kingdoms is a book of mine that's published in August 2021 by the New Degree Press, which is a Washington D.C. based publisher. So the book is basically about the paradoxes and paradigms behind the use of emerging technologies in within the government ecosystem, right? So in other words, it's about the ethical and unethical use of modern technology advancements, in the government ecosystem, and what we can do as the citizenry to change that status quo. So I've had the inspiration to write this book for 2-3 years now, but I never really had a chance to get started with actually developing the book. But I only had a chance to start doing that 6 months ago when I had an amazing circle of friends and family, and my mentors who really gave me a lot of support to really equip me with all the skills and all the resources to really get started on this project. So that's actually how I got into this whole book writing journey.
That's amazing. Yeah. To be able to, start to write a book and have the inspiration to write such amazing book is really inspirational. And I hope our other Burmese youth get some sort of motivation, inspiration from this book and from you.
Yeah, thanks. I
So
appreciate it. Yep.
yeah, for sure. Before we dive deeper into the details of the book, I'm wondering if you would be able to, share some of your current work and current projects that you might be taking on right now, leading up to launching this book.
Yeah, sure. So essentially, I have always been passionate about emerging technologies ever since I was 5-6 years back. I got started at a local university back in Myanmar, and I was really passionate about using technology to solve problems, and especially in the cybersecurity and data science space. So I really started experimenting, doing a lot of projects that led me to um, you know um, dig deeper into this whole domain of emerging technologies. And also, just a little fan fact about me, I grew up in 4 different countries, before coming to the United States. So I have always been familiar with this whole, social issues and, social equity and all this criminal justice related kind of problems. And I have always been passionate about doing something about it to change that reality, to really be a part of that small ripple effect to achieve social equity in our country, as well as in other countries. So I wanted to marry these two different passions of emerging technologies and social sciences, right? So I wanted to create an interdisciplinary project that can really um, that can really embody my personality. I started working on a lot of projects that include, being the president of MISA, and I also did a couple of papers. But I actually wanted to do something really tangible because we see a lot of social problems in the world today, and a lot of people are turning blind eye to these problems because when you talk about emerging technologies, there are a lot of developments happening in the real world today, but the ignoring the ethical complexities behind these emerging technologies is also big issues, is as big as a problem, if not bigger than that. So I wanted to write a book. I never thought I would have the bandwidth to really start writing a book, like I mentioned before. But I thought, I'm gonna do it because I want to do it. So I picked up a pen and I wrote down some ideas, and the rest was just history. The rest just followed because if you really want something, there's this really cagey, corny sort of saying, if you really want something, the universe has a crazy magical way of giving it to you. So, that's basically the story of how I got into this whole book publishing journey.
That's amazing. You also brought up about how you lived in four countries or like different countries before.
Yeah.
I similarly have lived in many countries, including Singapore, Myanmar, China, and then now we're in the United States. So I can definitely agree with the fact that, we have seen so much in different culture and how different system work and how people use different strategy to, integrate technology into this system
Yeah.
to either make it more efficient or it could also cause some, ethical problems. Definitely something that I feel like is a big sort of debate that's going on that everybody is asking, is it relevant? Is it useful? Is this going to be effective for the society? Because any kind of action has impact on one group, if not many groups of people in our society.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, so definitely like the fact that you're so young and bringing in this like new fresh perspective into the community, I think is really important. And it's amazing that you're writing this book, and we hope to support you in any way we can.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it. I really do.
mhm,
Appreciate it.
for sure. My next question would be the fact that I'm also studying biomedical engineering right now and in the tech field. So I really understand like the advancement that we're having in the technology field. And I know that it affects us not only on day-to-day basis, but also in the governmental system as a whole, affecting the whole community and even like country to country. It has a lot of effect on it. So I just want to hear what is your motivation behind this book and what actually get you started and make you interested in actually tackling this topic that is like really huge and really heated debate right now in the community.
Got you. So I just want to piggyback a little bit on what I just said before about marrying my two different passions with social science and ethics. Sorry, social science and emerging technologies. So like I said, I've always passionate about these two fields, but I don't have a background in government. Right before coming to the United States, I actually studied a full-time business administration course back in Singapore. And, after coming to the United States, I have been pursuing information technology and management. So my educational training is basically within the information technology and business administration route, right? So I don't really have an extensive background in government, especially the United States, the federal government system. I'm not really that familiar with that whole process, but like I mentioned before, if you really want to look deeper into the social issues happening in the society, government is where you get started, right? So I really wanted to, create this whole interdisciplinary approach of creating something that includes all three elements of emerging technologies, ethics, and government. So that's how I actually got started, into this whole creating a new theme sort of journey. So, going back to what I was talking about, why is this important? Because we have all kinds of emerging technologies in the world today, right? We have predictive policing algorithms. If you look at the law enforcement and the criminal litigation fields, we have, like I mentioned before, predictive policing algorithms, and we have these proprietary software that you can use to, predict an offender's recidivism rate, right? There's a lot of developments happening in the emerging technologies, but people have also been studying cyber ethics for so long, but no one has really come up with a clear-cut answer on how you should be tackling the problems associated with emerging technologies, right? So I really wanted to, like I mentioned before, I really wanted to change the status quo, and I really want my book to serve as this, tiny ripple effect that can get people to start a conversation about ethics, about cyber ethics, and about the use of emerging technologies within the government context, right? So, the main idea behind the book really is to show people, or really educate people to be familiar with the frameworks and the paradigms that they can sort of rely on to create the solutions that don't actually become part of the problem. Because sometimes, it's really counterintuitive. You try to solve a problem, without realizing that you only added the solution to the problem ecosystem. So I really wanted to break that wheel, and that's sort of my motivation behind writing the book.
That's very impressive. Yeah, like I really understand when you brought up about like how solution could actually become a problem as well if we don't, consider all the effects that it
Yep,
could have. Because everything is like a double-edged sword,
definitely.
because especially in this community, like we have, or in this world, I guess, with very heated, political sort of different stands going on, and instability that we already have. um, you know, with any implementation or of technology can either worsen the problem that we already have, or it could help. But we have to consider all the different sides and different consequences.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
even more relevant, when you look at the different issues happening today. The post-pandemic period and all the political climate that we're having in the United States right now, and globally, if you will. So it is just kind of really, it's just a really relevant topic, right? Because emerging technology is not something you could just steer clear of, because it has been social media and technology have been so infiltrated into your lives that like you can't really refrain from you know using any of those. So the only way for you to actually coexist with emerging technologies is to start talking about the solutions and how to solve these problems to refrain from all the ethical problems arising from emerging technology. So like I mentioned before, I'm totally with you.
I totally agree with you too. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the book,
Here,
because I've been pretty much keeping up with the news and what's happening around the world and what's happening in the United States, and I think it's going to be very relevant. So yeah, for sure.
definitely.
One follow-up question I would have about the book is, who exactly are you targeting with this book? And is it for youth, or is it for, people who are in power, who have authority, to look at this from a different perspective? And maybe what's unique about this book, the fact that you're bringing up very relevant issues currently, like with the current issues that's happening. So what might be something that you would like to, bring up right now so you can sell it to your audience?
Yeah, totally. So the primary target audience of my book are basically people pursuing different technology disciplines in college, or people who want to break into emerging technologies as a potential career path. But really, what my book really want to do is to promote ethics within the emerging technologies field. So to be completely honest, anyone who has the passion to promote ethics and creating ethically responsible solutions when it comes to technology-based problem solving. So they're all my audience, right? It sounds broad, but to be completely honest, if you really look into the technology domain, not a lot of people are that informed enough or passionate about being ethical, right? Because now we have a lot of cool grassroots initiatives in a lot of countries to educate people when it comes to technology, right? A lot of STEM education programs, more and more people are starting to pursue programming. So there, there are a lot of initiatives that people are doing to promote the STEM education. But when it comes to emerging technologies, you also need to be cognizant of the fact that a lot of solutions that we have in place today are not ethical. So, like I mentioned before, the primary motivation behind writing this book is really to promote ethics within the emerging technologies field. So, going back to your question about who my primary audience are, basically anyone who wants to promote ethics within the emerging technologies domain. So that's the first part of the question. What's unique about my book? So my book is essentially split into two parts. So the first part is called the paradoxes, right? So the paradoxes part is essentially introducing people, the readers, to the ethical complexities behind emerging technologies within the government ecosystem. So I talk about different elements within different government systems like justice, litigation, right? The American federal prison system. I also talk about military and defense, veteran affairs, and I also identify different emerging technologies being used in these fields and how these technologies can actually, sort of backfire if you use it improperly. So that's the first part of the book, paradoxes, and then comes the second part, which is the paradigm. So paradigms is a more it's a deeper, it's at a deeper level than the first part, because it's going to take you through a unique paradigm building process, right? So how you can use the ethical frameworks and the ethical paradigms to create more ethically responsible solutions, and create this form of um, uh, because this is a part about paradigms. So I'm going to talk about the paradigms and how you can actually, build this ethically responsible solutions and ethically responsible framework when it comes to solving problems. So that's what's unique about the book. The first part is about the paradoxes, and the second part is about the paradigms.
That's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, I would never even, get to know what the criminal systems are doing in the United States or anything like that without reading this kind of book, because I mean, I don't talk to the federal people on a daily
Yeah.
basis. So it will be really interesting to get to read about it. And going off that, I saw on your LinkedIn and all you're sharing about the website that you have regarding this book, and you were talking to a lot of people who are really with a lot of authority and who are actually working in the field, security field, or even Hollywood actor that you were talking to. So I just wanted to know, who have you been working for this book? I mean, working with for this book, and what are their perspective and why are they relevant for this book?
So yeah, that's really amazing question, because it looks like I'm single-handedly writing this book, but I really am not. Like, because I have been receiving a lot of support from a lot of people, my mentors, like I mentioned before, my coaches, friends, family members, and all these people that I've been interviewing, because I don't really have the full intellectual capacity to actually develop a book from scratch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know enough, but I don't know everything. So I really have to be I really have to know the different resources that I have to like get to in order to be able to develop a credible book. So that's basically the plan. And what I really started doing was, there's this professor from Georgetown University. He has this really cool book writing program. I actually got introduced to the professor through a friend of mine, and I applied for the program. I got into it. He accepts around like 40 students from the entire country on a semesterly basis, I believe. I got into the program. I started working on the book, and he signed me my personal development or editor. I have my own marketing coach, my publicity coordinator, who like all of whom have been helping me with promoting the book, like what sort of social media strategies you should use to optimize the brand building, the audience building, and how to market the book prior to the sales launch. So these are all the different things that they have been helping me with. And also another thing is going to be the interviews, right? So yeah, so I've been interviewing a lot of people from the government and from technology fields, and a lot of people that I've been talking to are super interesting people. There's this person that I've talked to. Her name is Shelly Winner. She is currently a very high-ranking employee working at Microsoft, but she used to be she was in prison for 10 years because of substance abuse, and she really she had a rough time in prison, and she got a lot of programs that really help her rehabilitate and get back to her feet. And that's her inspiration behind working so hard to advocate for criminal justice and restorative justice. And that's just an example of a lot of interesting people that I've talked to, and that's exactly what I'm including in the book, right? So my book's not just about my personal opinions or the research. It's also about what other people think about these technologies, and how you as a responsible citizen can play a part to promote ethics in technology. So these are the different like whole like spectrum of people involved in this book writing journey. So it's really it's really just not a one-man journey. So that's sort of my point. Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah, the fact that you're able to pull these people and connect with these people and draw all their knowledge or experiences that they have had that can contribute to the aim of this book. I think that's really impressive, and I think that's what you the readers would enjoy, the fact that we're not only looking at one person's perspective of the issue, but also like from people who have gone through all these experiences, including drug, substance abuse, criminal justice system, or even working at, like big technology firms. I think that would actually change the game for this book. And yeah, I really wish you all the best.
Definitely, thank
Um,
you.
for sure. And maybe you can share some of the messages or like takeaway that the audience can have from this book. I know that it's going to be launched in like August 2021, but I'm sure some of us are very excited to, get to know this book and understand what we could possibly take away. And if you could, briefly summarize for it, that would be great as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. So, the key message essentially is twofold, right? So I just want to go back a little bit to what I just said before about the two different parts of the book, the paradox and the paradigms. So the paradoxes part is more introductory in nature. So it's going to walk you through, different complexities of the ethical domain, associated with emerging technologies, right? So it's going to include things like the line between the right and the wrong, the line between the good and the bad. And I just wanted to give people a little bit of an overview of what ethics looks like in emerging technologies. And when I talk about ethics, I'm not really talking about the philosophical side of ethics, because it's so deep. Like I don't even comprehend what that particular domain entails. So I'm not really gonna like go very deep into the philosophical ethics, but I'm more talking about the technological side of the ethics, right? So, talking about when it is appropriate to use predictive algorithms, when it's not appropriate to use these algorithms, when these algorithms start sparring the racial bias and all these other sort of problems. You have this load of problems adding up to the top of the mountain of problems. And, I just want to make sure that that problem, gets solved, like not necessarily gets solved, but like people are aware of these problems, enough that they can actually start doing something to solve these problems. So that's what the first part of the book intends to accomplish. And then going to the second part of the book, takes you a little bit, one step further and tells you a little bit more about the paradigm. So understanding the problems is not really enough for you to start taking the actions. You also need to be familiar with or equipped with the tools or frameworks necessary to start building that paradigm shifting foundation. So that's the what I intend to accomplish with the second part of the book, to really give you something, not probably like I'm not gonna like dump you like the entire pack of tools that you can use to start building these paradigms, but just enough so that you understand the problems, but at the same time you also have the capacity to become part of the problem solving ecosystem when it comes to emerging technologies, and that's what the second part of the book intends to accomplish. Yep.
That's really great. Yeah, the fact that we're not only focusing on just pointing out the problems that we see, because I think that's the easier part, I would say,
Yeah.
but actually getting into action and, giving that sort of the starting point for the people, like in the framework, you would say. I think that's very important. The fact that, in this world, we're easy to just point it out and be like, this is a problem, and nobody solves it. And we just all
Yep.
look at it, stare at it, and blame the other person. Why are you not doing anything about it? But I think that's very important that we have somebody to come in and be like, these are the problems, and this is how we could tackle it. But, and the rest is up to us to be the agent of the, chain makers, to go out and, tackle it, because I know this is not one person job to be able to tackle the whole issue of how technology could, impact our society, our community. And the fact that you brought up about the racial, um, there's the racial unfairness in some way in the technology and the system that we have. As part of my BME course, we also did an ethic course, and we were talking about how race could affect, the algorithms that we have to detect the criminals and things like that. So I'm very hopeful the fact that we have all these courses, integrated to our educational system, at least in the United States. And I hope that's something that we'll do back home in Myanmar too, or in anywhere around the world, because technology is something that we cannot, shy away from or avoid. The fact that is really penetrating and like into our lives on a daily basis. So definitely I think your book will be great. The fact that you put people into action, and that's a main takeaway, and I really love that.
Definitely. Thank you.
And my next question is a bit more personal, maybe. Since I know you've arrived in the United States last year or like about a year now, so it's just like really impressive for me that you're on your way to publish a book and interviewing so many people here. So, what are some of the challenges that you might face throughout your journey of starting out, from one idea to even starting to write the book, and now you have a team who is supporting you in terms of like how do you market this book and things like that. So what are some challenges and what are some things that you are taking away from this personal journey of this project?
Got you. Yeah, awesome question, Ian. I've always been, like I said, willing to write a book. I've always been passionate about these two different fields, but actually start doing that is a different story, right? Because I mean, you want to write a book, that's great, right? That's an idea, but actually like start picking up a pen or like opening a laptop to start writing the book, it's another level. It's like a whole other spectrum of effort. So like I mentioned before, I have this amazing group of people supporting me, but I actually have to start reaching out to these people to really let them know my motivation behind writing this book. Because if you're being insincere about what you want to do, people know it, right? You are only as good as your purest intention. So that was the first barrier that I had to go through. I really have to embody this. I really have to be vocal about what I want to do. I can't just be like, oh, I want to write a book because I think that's going to look good in my resume, or I think that's going to be good for my grad school application. That's not necessarily what people are going to be impressed by when you approach to them and ask them, I want to interview you. So that's one primary challenge. I really have to find my voice, and I really want to be clear about what I want to do. So that's the first sort of pillar of barrier that I had to overcome. And then after that, okay, I have all the resources, I have the support system, I have the mentors and the amazing coaches who can help me throughout this journey. Now, the next challenge that I had to overcome is really the commitment and the effort. See, I'm pursuing like 20 credits like each semester because I'm trying to graduate in 3 years, and so I'm also sort of doing two jobs in college. So it's kind of a little bit tough for me to pour in a lot of hours into the book writing journey, because if you write a book in under, I don't know, a year and a half, there's a certain amount of commitment that you really have to give into the process, because a lot of people publish the book after writing it for, I don't know, maybe like 2 years, 3 years, and you're doing that under a year and a half, and that's challenging. So what we have to do is pour in at least like 6 to 7 hours on a daily basis, and that 6 to 7 hours include primary research. So basically interviewing people, cold emailing the people in the technology and government industries. Second is the secondary research. So reading articles, newspapers, books, white papers, and all sorts of resources that you can get hold of to really have that credible content for your book. And the process also includes, apparently writing and, the market research, looking into the whole publishing industry, as well as building your own audience. And so all of these things are happening behind the curtain. So, when you write a book, like people know that you are writing a book, but actually you're not just writing a book, you're also responsible for your own audience building process. You have to raise $5,000 to, get the book published. So that's a huge responsibility from my part. And that's another challenge. And last but not least, is going to be interviewing people. Again, if you have an authentic voice, and if you have a group of people supporting you, like, behind the stage, and you have the commitment and the energy and the motivation to do it, it's so easy. But the thing is, when you reach out to people and when you want to interview these people, you want to make sure that they also have a certain level of knowledge and a certain level of understanding of ethics and technology. And it's sort of hard to find these people. A lot of these people are, a lot of people that I want to talk to are, international TEDx speakers, government officials, people from the Department of Defense, CIA, FBI, Artificial Intelligence Task Force. So it's really hard for me to get a hold of these people, because they're not just professionals working in technology fields. They're also in the government. The nature of the government officials. They're very cagey about their job. It's very sensitive in nature. And also, I'm the last person they should be talking to. I'm an international student. They probably think I'm a spy or something. Interviewing them, all these secretive nature of their work. So these are like the three primary challenges that I had to overcome. You know. In this process of developing the book. So yeah, good times, huh?
Yeah, that was one of the main question I was like thinking, oh, he's an international student. I am an international student. And like I can barely go out and talk to anyone because they're like, oh, you're an international student. We don't want to talk to you. And the fact that like you reach out to them and like these big people from FBI and CIA, that's really impressive. And the fact that you are able to draw their attention to you, and then like being able to interview them, that's amazing. I think that's a big achievement itself, even
Thank you.
without the book. With the book, of course, it's something that you hit in your life, a milestone that you can take away with for your whole life. And that's really amazing that you're achieving at this age.
Appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe another question that I would like to follow up is, right now, the fact that you're still in the process of writing and you still have a couple of more months before publishing the book. So I'm just wondering how the audience who are watching this right now can play a part in your journey, and how they may be able to contribute to your book and help you with completing the book.
Yeah, so amazing. That's another really good question I want to answer, because like I mentioned before, coaches and mentors are important, but friends and family are even more important, because you get a book out there, like you have a book in your hand, but why are you going to do with that, right? Without being able to put the book into the hands of the people that you care about, into the hands of the readers that are your main audience, right? So people watching this interview, or everybody else that I have in mind about, in terms of like readers of this book, are all extremely pivotal individuals in this book writing journey. Ever since I made an announcement about the book, people have been providing me with a tremendous amount of support, liking my posts, like commenting, like privately messaging me, and giving me all these congratulatory messages. That they're all amazing. I mean, I know that a lot of people have been supporting me like throughout my entire journey, friends and family. I have a dedicated group of friends who really want to see me grow and succeed. But I never really realized that there's this group of people out there. Like, I don't even know some of these people, but they have been amazing supporters of my book writing journey. And that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? Because like I mentioned before, I can't do this alone. I'm not a one man. This is not like a one man journey, like I mentioned a couple of times before. So, I will definitely make sure that this book is worth your support, because like I mentioned before, I've been pouring a lot of hours, working 6 to 7 hours average, just writing the book, and not including all the research and market publishing, market research about the publishing industry and stuff like that, like just like 6 to 7 net hours of writing the book. And so I just want to say, please continue supporting me, and I promise I'll make it worth your while.
That's amazing. Yeah. For sure. You have our support. The fact that we have somebody who is really passionate about the topic, really passionate to get this high quality project out into the market, or in the hands of people. That's very important that you get the support, and I'm sure you do. And the fact that you have already got all the support without even publishing the book yet, it's amazing. And I really wish you all the best.
Thank you.
That's for, I guess, for people who already know you. How about for the audience who may not have all the information about the book? So, where can they find more information about the book, or how they can buy the book after it's being launched in August? Yeah.
So the book is actually officially publishing in August 2021. So it'll be through it'll be published through the New Degree Press, my publisher company, and it'll also be on certain online platforms like Amazon, and I'm not really sure about Barnes & Noble. That's sort of another thing that I have to talk to my publisher about, but it will definitely be published in both hard copy and ebook formats. But before the official sales arrives in August, I have a pre-sales campaign that's going to be launched around mid-March. So I'm not going to be, I'm not going to finish writing around mid-March, but the sales campaign is going to get launched around mid-March. I think it's going to be around 16th or 17th. So that's when you can actually start buying the book. It will be launched through the Indiegogo, the platform, and you can actually purchase, however many copies that you want. Um, that'll be the first way, the earliest and the most convenient way of supporting me before the book gets launched. And the second way to stay engaged before it gets the sales campaign arrives is going to be through the newsletter and the website. So I have this website. It's actually very simple, just the name of my book, www.codesandkingdoms.com. So if you go to the website and if you scroll all the way down, there's actually a box where you can input your email address and subscribe to my newsletter. So what you can do is subscribe to my newsletters, stay engaged. I'm going to send you weekly or bi-weekly resources that I have been tapping into, people with whom I have been having conversations with, and a little bit of a snippet about my journey, and some other fun stuff. I'm going to be sharing all these things with you guys before the sales campaign arrives in March. The official book launches in August. So that's the best way to stay engaged, the newsletter. And another way is through social media. I am active on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I use a little bit of Twitter, but not really that much. So definitely stay engaged with my social media as well. I'll be posting some major milestones and achievements and stuff like that. I'll be recording my journey throughout the social media platforms. So definitely stay engaged through social media. And last but not least, if you want to have a chat, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me through social media or through email. I'm always, open for a chat.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'll definitely include all the links and platforms that people can reach out to in our post when we post this interview on Burmese LinkedIn as well. And the fact that I'm interviewing you, what I wanted to do is for you to also connect with the Burmese community. Given that these issues are something that is not very much talk about back home. So I just wanted people who are interested in this kind of topic to get involved in the conversation and probably reach out to you, to share their thoughts and get those conversation going. I think that would be amazing.
It'll be great. It'll be awesome. Yeah, I do have, like I said, I do have an amazing circle of friends and family, but I need more network to really spread this message and to really turn this into a tangible impact. So definitely thank you for doing that.
Yeah, for sure. So before we end up this interview, and I know you have talk a lot about the book and really very impressive content that we are expecting from you, and a lot of support that we're giving you. So any last words or messages that you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah, so I do have a message for people, either watching this the interview video or not watching the video, but I just want to say this is a really huge and surreal project for me, because I've always been passionate about being an author. I still remember 4 years ago, I think even before we became friends on Facebook, I actually I was into fiction writing, so I published this really bad piece of fictional novella. Really, it's a small piece of novel. It's called I forgot the exact title of the book, but it's about a really wacky guy in Scotland in the 90s who was tortured by his stepmother. It's a psychological sort of fiction. I shared the book not the book, the PDF on Facebook, and there was this group of people who literally read the book until the end and gave me a lot of feedback. So my point is, I've been having this amazing group of people, helping me succeed, helping me grow, even before I came to the States, and on my way to become a legitimate published author. So that group of people still exists, still supporting me, still, giving me a hand with a lot of things. And I just want to say I'm really appreciative of that, because, I have said this 4 or 5 times before. I'm going to say this again. This is not a one-man journey, right? Without you guys' support, I cannot do this. So, I just want to thank all of you again for, for lifting me up and for carrying me and for putting up with me and for challenging me and helping me become the kind of person that I am today. So I just want to say thank you. And, I don't want to be corny, so I don't want to emote a lot, but I just want to say thank you. And like I said, I'm very generous with my time these days. So if you have any questions, if you just want to, reach out to me for a chat, but definitely feel free to do that. And also, the entire pandemic has changed our lives forever, right? We now need more human contact than ever. The sense of, more personal and intimate relationship is becoming so much more important than ever before. So, it's not really that related to the book writing journey, but I just want to say, be careful. And, if you need anything, just feel free to reach out to me or people in your life, whoever you're close to or whoever you want to talk to. And that's going to be a very therapeutic thing that you can do in this, these unprecedented times. So that's sort of my message to everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great message to give. That's very warm, very genuine,
Yep.
and the fact that you're thanking all the family who has supported you, that's really amazing. Because I could understand, being an international student or being just away from home and just doing like achieving all those amazing things is not easy.
Yeah.
Like when people see it, they'll be like, oh, they're amazed, but the actual work, the actual effort that you put into it is something that people usually don't see. And it's amazing how you have, come thus far and a lot of achievement you've had in life. So from Burmese LinkedIn, we want to thank you for your time today and sharing your amazing journey with us. And we want to wish you all the best with your book. And you have all our support. And we're waiting for August and also March to come, so that we can get a taste of what the content is all about, and dive deeper into the whole conversation and debate that we could have from the book, and put all our effort into the action to prevent all the problems that could result from this emerging technology. And yeah, all the best from us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And also, I just want to say one last piece. I am actually donating 100% of all the profits to a veteran organization. So I'm still in the process of, identifying that organization that I'm going to be donating all the money to. So, this book writing journey is also a nonprofit journey. That's just another piece of message that I just wanted to put out there. But other than that, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an awesome chat with you. I really hope that you will like my book and buy my book. And, please let me know again if you have any questions. And, everybody have a good rest of the day, rest of the week, and take care.
For sure. Amazing work, Zay. Wish you all the best, and we'll end it off here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.